These are some of Family Guy's most iconic movie references and parodies. Starting with a movie that had one of the biggest impacts on pop culture, one of the greatest series of fantasy films ever made, The Lord of the Rings.
Nobody move! Nobody move! Does anybody see it? It might be stuck to a tree or a rock.
It's a classic tale of good versus evil, power and the corruption it causes, and an unhealthy obsession with jewelry. That ring doesn't even have a diamond on it. You can do better than that, Gollum. The gals down at the nail salon are gonna silently judge you.
Also wants ice cream.
No, Peter, it's too close to dinner time.
It's a phenomenal, multi-Oscar winning trilogy, and it looks like the show isn't done referencing it yet. There's supposedly an entire episode that'll be parodying the films in the upcoming 24th season. Still got your fingers on the pulse as always, Family Guy. Although the idea of Chris going on a journey with his missing season 1 earring does make us chuckle.
Where's your season 1 earring?
Hang on, Gandalf. I think I got it here somewhere.
And the action continues with the movie that would go on to change the genre forever, 1988's Die Hard.
Now I know what a TV dinner feels like.
What?
It's a line from Die Hard.
I share Brian's confusion, as last I checked, TV dinners weren't eaten in ventilation tunnels. But how did Brian not recognize that line? He was in the movie, apparently.
Want a breath mint?
Breath mint. I ad-libbed that line.
Well, despite Brian's presence no doubt making the movie worse, Die Hard is still a monumental achievement for action movie fans and barefoot aficionados. Don't really understand the title, though. They should have called it Hard to Die, or The Guy Who Is Not All That Fond of Being Killed.
That lunch didn't have your name on it, but this bullet does.
But the next movie is controversial because of the debate around whether it's really as good as it's been labeled. Of course, it's 1994's modern odyssey, Forrest Gump.
Is he smart? Or is he like me?
He's perfect.
Which way, modern man? Forrest Gump's son or Peter Griffin daughter? But the modern journeys of a simple Alabama man have been called iconic, and if Family Guy's referencing it, then you know they're probably right.
I miss Jenny.
What is that?
That's Forrest Gump.
Yeah, I don't think so.
And we're kinda shocked to report that Family Guy doesn't actually make a ton of crude jokes about Forrest's intelligence. Jenny is not treated as kindly, though. Maybe rightfully so.
I know you came all this way to New York to visit me, but I'm gonna go do and have sex with a bunch of stockbrokers.
But on a slightly lighter note, let's look at the first ever Pixar film, Toy Story, and its slew of sequels.
Peter, what are you doing up there?
Oh, nothing, Lois. I was just making sure I kept my Woody and Butt.
The story of toys coming to life has been one that's resonated with generation after generation. Growing older just means finding out a movie you loved as a kid now has like a bunch of sequels. Like, what do you mean there's a 5th one coming out? And you better be transitioning from toys to collectibles, like a real adult.
What's going on here?
You've got a friend in me?
Leave it to Family Guy to do its best to ruin your childhood. But would you believe that none of the show's references are as dark as the actual movies? It's not often you get to see your favorite characters quietly accept their death.
Oh, Rupert, thank God you're alive!
And The Hills Were Alive with The Sound of Music, the 1965 movie that Seth MacFarlane considers his favorite musical, which has been referenced since the early days of Family Guy and even more recently. So majestic, so breathtaking, so... we're all just choosing to ignore the tiny arms, right? You can find a number of the film's songs in various episodes, but that hasn't stopped the show from parodying several scenes as well.
I too have sinned, Mother.
Oh my God! That's Rolf! What the hell is wrong with you?
It's a classic that continues to stand the test of time, finding its way into more modern episodes as well. Sometimes it helps to be a theater kid. Just, rein it in every once in a while. I don't care what Shakespeare said, some parts of the world are not a stage.
Hi, Dad!
Hi, Daddy!
We dug a lake for this!
And another famous musical the show has referenced a ton is the 1939 fantasy musical The Wizard of Oz. It's one of the most quoted and most popular movies of all time, despite the fact that it's nearly a century old. Just think of when Family Guy turns 100. You're gonna be hearing an unhealthy amount of surf and bird in the retirement homes.
And I think I'll miss you most of all, Scarecrow.
Oh, okay. It's kind of an odd thing to say.
With modern retellings like Wicked keeping the lore relevant to this day, we're probably bound to see a lot more references to the iconic film in the years to come. Especially now that the Vegas Sphere is melting everybody's mind with their version. Why, thank you, Sphere. I've always wanted more motion sickness in my movies.
There's just one thing I want you to do.
What's that?
Talk me out of it.
No.
And the show has constantly referenced and adopted the humor of what is considered one of the greatest comedies of all time, Airplane.
I just want to tell you both, good luck. We're all counting on you.
The absurd disaster comedy left a very big imprint on Family Guy, not only because of how much it references it, but also by how much it shaped the comedy of the show itself. They really don't make them like they used to. Movies and Family Guy, honestly.
Everything's gonna be all right. Chris, you're wanted on the phone. Everything's gonna be all right.
So when you think Family Guy for irreparably changing your sense of humor, remember to thank the OG that gave the show its wings. What other film could balance asking if we like gladiator movies and if we've ever seen a grown man naked before in the same conversation?
Trick or treat for UNICEF? Oh, pitch in for Ed's retirement cake?
But the definitive holiday story is often seen as the adapted work of Charles Dickens's A Christmas Carol.
Cratchit, you're working through Christmas!
But sir, what of Tiny Tim?
The story of a mean old rich guy getting visited by 3 ghosts to relearn the true spirit of Christmas has been the basis for many a movie and TV episode. I'm not surprised Family Guy's done a parody of it, I'm just shocked it took them so long.
Oh, I've come back to help you recapture the true spirit of Christmas.
Ghost House.
Honestly, a ghost giving Scrooge a roadhouse kick to the head probably would have gotten him to see reason a lot quicker. It's an iconic story that will probably never go away, especially considering there are 2 more films in development as we speak. So always remember the lesson taught by this classic. Put salt around your house to keep ghosts out so you can get a peaceful Christmas Eve sleep.
Okay, here we go.
Sorry, this is turning into something else.
But a controversial show like Family Guy loves to reference a controversial film, and that's what brings us to 1999's American Beauty.
Sometimes there's so much beauty in the world it makes my heart burst.
So this movie was a huge hit at the time, winning several Oscars and being labeled as one of the best films of the decade. But as the years have gone by, public perception has soured on it. Are you telling me the movie with Kevin Spacey lusting after a teenage girl isn't being remembered fondly? Well, at least it gave Family Guy plenty of material to parody, so we'd say that's a net positive. Honestly, the whole point of the movie is to make you feel uncomfortable, but we don't think the filmmakers could have foreseen the legacy it would later have. But don't worry, Family Guy will keep reminding you.
The next day, I quit my job and was in no way run out of the industry for groping a busboy in Nantucket.
But a more fondly remembered film is the sci-fi adventure classic Back to the Future, which is about going back in time to make out with your mom or something like that. Or it's about elaborate fight sequences on top of a time-traveling car? But the film is still a tentpole of the sci-fi genre and has been referenced and parodied by Family Guy many times. They even based the episode Meet the Quagmires around the premise of the film.
Stewie! What? I have to tell you about the future!
It's probably a huge reason why the series has done so many time travel episodes, and why the series has parodied the ending of the second movie twice.
The Doc's alive! I mean, he's in the Old West, but he's alive!
A parody within a parody. What will they think up next? How about parodies of a franchise of movies so terrifying that people are still too scared to swim in the ocean to this day? That's right, the iconic Jaws franchise.
Hey, I'm gonna eat y'all. I'm gonna eat that hairy leg.
So maybe Family Guy's parodies don't quite live up to the fear factor that Jaws gave us. And it didn't help that anytime Jaws made an appearance on the show in the iconic poster fashion, he was voiced by Mike Henry, Bruce's voice actor. Coincidentally, Bruce was also the name of the shark from the original movie. The ocean-related fun facts just don't stop coming from this little clam. Okay, so sometimes they definitely did capture the fear these movies gave us when we first watched. Sorry that you had to be the sacrifice for this iconic recreation, Quagmire. But some of the most recent movies to have become iconic are centered around the cinematic universe of the Avengers.
So, what's your superpower?
Kicking.
Oh, right, because none of us can kick.
But because these movies are so new, I'd wager that the showrunners haven't really seen them. Didn't even try to find a guy who sounds like Thor, did ya? But that hasn't stopped them from referencing other films in the franchise, like Captain America Civil War.
We've got you, Scarlet Witch, the Falcon, and, of course, Randy.
Who's Randy?
And Avengers Infinity War.
I knew it was gonna be us.
Well, they got the gist of it, I suppose. But the MCU is without a doubt the biggest film franchise of the modern age, so it only makes sense that the show would reference it from time to time. Still waiting on our Eternals reference, Family Guy. Don't listen to the haters. It's better than people give it credit for. And a comedy classic that gets all the credit and references in the show is Caddyshack, a golfing movie that was so influential to Family Guy that they would just sometimes bypass referencing it and just directly put scenes from the movie into the episode.
Well, we're waiting.
Personally, we respect any movie that can make golf interesting, and we respect the show for finding ways to nod to the classics, sometimes obviously and sometimes subtly.
$50 says the fat girl eats a third big beef and cheddar. Who's on it?
Okay.
I'll take that.
You got it.
Who would have thought you could take a scene about eating boogers and make it even grosser by swapping those out for Arby's? They have the meat, but I have a suspicion it's not animal meat. Highly recommend Caddyshack though, it's much more appetizing.
Hey everybody, we're all gonna get laid!
And when you're having the time of your life, no movie reference will do except for one from the 1987 romantic classic, Dirty Dancing.
The stuffy parents from Dirty Dancing, right guys?
Sorry, Peter. Even we're getting into it.
It's one of those classic feel-good films that'll have you just wanting to spin someone around in the air. And it's the perfect excuse for Family Guy to bring back one of their favorite roadhouse-kicking characters, Patrick Swayze.
Not guilty. Nobody puts Peter in a corner.
Yay!
But yeah, the film is a hallmark of the 80s, which means it's pretty much open season for Family Guy to reference. They even parodied the entire movie in Love Story Guy.
This is the I was talking about!
And yet another staple of the 80s was the slacker comedy Ferris Bueller's Day Off, which was probably the only time in history where someone could hijack a parade without immediately getting taken out by a SWAT sniper.
Here's where Brian goes berserk.
Just an infinitely quotable, infinitely charming movie about teenage rebellion and bullying your friend into joining in with your hijinks. Did you know some people actually sympathize with the insane principal in that movie? Don't trust those people. But this film has been referenced several times in the show, with our personal favorite being the neighborhood chase to beat the parents home. You could just run through people's backyards back in the day. Now this is a movie that couldn't be made today.
Probably shouldn't have milked that landing.
And the horrors of war are made a little bit lighter whenever the show decides to parody the Stanley Kubrick Vietnam War film, Full Metal Jacket.
What's your name, soldier?
Sir, McCardle, sir!
Are you me? Probably some kind of joker.
But it's not enough to just parody the iconic drill sergeant from the film, as the show made sure to cast the actor who portrayed him, Arlie Ermey, for 2 separate references. Believe it or not, the talent of shouting and swearing isn't as easy as it sounds. Best to leave it to the experts.
Let me hear your war cry. Is that the best you got, you pile of crap?
As funny as those scenes can be out of context, it's still a pretty depressing film. But nothing eases the terror of reality like Family Guy cracking jokes. Thanks for the blissful ignorance, guys.
What the ow, 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 ow.
But for something a little more comforting, the show looks to the 1990 supernatural romance film, Ghost, for all your pottery spinning needs.
This is more like it.
Yeah, that pottery scene is probably the most obvious reference people will recognize from the film. But that's an easy one. Give me a reference that proves you actually know ball.
My scary, otherworldly, shadowy spirit friends might have something to say about that.
Now that's what I'm talking about. Always thought those were Dementors or something. But nope, just another Swayze reference and an episode filled with Swayze references. One of the showrunners must have been behind this tweet because the show really can't help itself at times.
That'll be $27.50.
And speaking of busting ghosts, there's no better film to reference on the matter than the 80s supernatural comedy, Ghostbusters.
Get out of the fridge, Peter.
There is no Peter, only Zool.
I said get out of the fridge.
This is why you gotta keep your fridge clean. Today it's mold, tomorrow it's an interdimensional ghost lord. This is another one of those films that you can tell made a huge impact on the show's snarky brand of comedy. Plus, how can you not pay respect to one of the coolest movie gadgets ever?
Yo, look, I got me a West.
80s babies love them some Ghostbusters, and it's not hard to see why. The gadgets, the ghosts, and finally having the answer to who you should call. Can I text them though? I'm scared of making phone calls.
Who are they gonna call?
Ghostbusters, Tom?
No, Diane, their insurance company.
And a movie a little less frightening is the 70s musical Grease, where you will believe that a car can fly.
We've been up here for 4 days. Why did you drive the car into the air if you didn't know how to get it back down?
Yeah, it's a goofy little film, but one that gave life to a ton of iconic songs, like You're the One That I Want and We Go Together, the latter of which was parodied, just not exactly in the way you might expect.
Mr. Rama Lama Lama Kadinga Da Dinga Dong, do you take Miss Shubop Shawada Wada Yippity Boom De Boom to be your wife?
Well, that's one way to get around copyright claims on a song. Let's just hope they don't hyphenate their surnames in their marriage. And up next is what many people consider to be the godfather of mob movies that isn't called The Godfather, Martin Scorsese's Goodfellas.
Am I George Carlin funny? Am I Spin City funny? Rita Rudner funny? What? Come on.
Rita Rudner funny.
But don't worry, this one doesn't insist upon itself. It's full of the kind of live fast, die young intensity that you're not supposed to root for. Yeah, good luck with that one.
Right this way.
It's an insanely memorable and quotable film, which makes it a prime target for the show to lampoon and parody. After all, whacking people never looks so cool. No, that's not the kind of whacking you're thinking of, you sick freaks.
Oh no.
And like the mob, you can't trust gremlins, those crazy little creatures from the movie, you guessed it, Critters. No, wait, Gremlins.
What could happen?
Hello.
But when you actually feed gremlins after midnight, they don't turn into beloved 90s sitcom actresses. Instead, they turn into violent and crazy monsters. Honestly, no one should be eating after midnight. You're gonna ruin your circadian rhythm. If you think that's disturbing, imagine seeing this film as a kid with no idea what it was. It literally goes from a nice Christmas movie to a horror movie filled with gremlin gore. And as kids, we loved it. Probably explains a lot of our issues. And another Christmas movie with some unnerving moments is the 90s holiday classic Home Alone.
Lois? Where the devil is everyone?
Having the house to yourself as a kid sounds like a dream come true, but now I can't help but think I'll always get attacked by some burglars. Good thing I have a bodyguard now. Best $5,000 a month I've ever spent. But this movie has it all. Scary moments, big laughs, and an undeniable heart for the season. It's also good to remember that it's just a movie. Please don't try to booby trap home invaders, just call the police.
Just so you guys know, I have a tarantula.
And an equally scary but fun time can be had with the next film, Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom.
A raft? We're not sinking! We're crashing!
Man, do we love some silly movie physics. We don't think any of you guys would be in that position, but just in case you ever are, don't jump out of a plane with a raft. But feel free to try the other things from the movie, like pulling the heart out of someone's chest.
Kalima! Kalima!
Man, PG movies went hard back then. This is often considered the best of the trilogy, so it's no wonder that the movie's been referenced in the show so many times. Yep, there are only 3 movies. Don't look into it.
Michael Eisner!
Cover your heart!
Kalima!
And what's often considered to be the greatest Christmas movie of all time is the 1940s classic, It's a Wonderful Life.
I want to live again! I want to live again! Whoa!
He's probably fine. After all, he's got an angel on his side. This is an incredibly heartwarming movie that not only reflects the importance of Christmas, but also the importance of family, community, and buying a house for a nickel. Yep, it makes me depressed every time I think about it too. Oh well, a $2,000 a month box will have to do for me.
Every time a bell rings, some gay guy's gonna have with another gay guy.
We're gonna pull you out of that school.
And we return to thrills and adventure with the dinosaur movie that changed the game, Jurassic Park.
Welcome to Executive Bathroom Island.
You may not realize it, but this film not only made dinosaurs cool again, but also revolutionized special effects. Now, whenever you see a bunch of CGI in a movie, you can thank, or curse, Jurassic Park for that.
Life finds a way.
It's a monumental piece of film history with so many sequels, spin-offs, and extended media. All of that just to have the first one still be the best one. That's right, we said it. Chris Pratt just doesn't exude pheromones like Jeff Goldblum. And we go from dinosaurs to talking plants from outer space with the hit horror musical Little Shop of Horrors.
Feed me!
You can talk?
Yeah, in case you're wondering where the inspiration for Chris's talking pimple Doug came from, he's heavily inspired by Audrey 2 from the film. Chris should feel lucky that Doug wasn't asking him to feed him people. Human flesh isn't great for the skin, oddly enough. But Chris isn't the only one who's had a traumatic experience with Audrey 2.
I pooped in the pot again. I'm gonna need somebody to clean me up.
That's one way to capture the horror aspect of this movie. But a lighter film that Family Guy was still able to make uncomfortable anyway was the 1960s Disney musical, Mary Poppins.
Oh, Mary, you'll never leave us, will you?
You know, it's been a while since we've seen the movie, but we don't think that was in there. The movie's supposed to be fun, whimsical, and full of made-up nonsense words. Not exposing yourself and being involved in a double homicide.
I've always imagined the most beautiful...
But like we said, we haven't seen the movie in a while. Disney did used to get away with a lot of weird stuff back in the day. Never forget that naked woman that's in the window of a single frame of The Rescuers. But a movie that's actually wild is the 1978 college party movie produced by National Lampoon, Animal House. Just how wild is it? Well, we can't even show you most of the scene. YouTube won't even let us show Peter's chest. You think they're gonna let us show anyone else's? But it's clear this balls-to-the-wall frat movie's reputation precedes it, with a lot of its quotability and iconicness making its way into the show.
Brian tried to have sex with me.
Was he bigger than me?
But we go from rowdy to sad with the movie that made dog lovers cry and Family Guy writers go, "That's so funny!" The 1957 Disney film, Old Yeller.
Is it on the machine?
I erased it.
All right, out back.
I hate to spoil a 60-year-old movie, but the thing everyone remembers about the film is the dog dying at the end. It's a heartbreaking scene of a boy having to mercy kill his best friend, which means it's the perfect kind of ammunition for Family Guy. Heck, Brian hates the movie so much that he even made a remake where the ending is a tad different.
I'm sorry.
No, I'm sorry.
Fun fact, Brian was killed off from the show so we could go shoot that. Isn't showbiz neat? And speaking of tragic movies, the 1993 drama Philadelphia has the unique distinction of being the first film reference the show ever made.
Funny guy, Tom Hanks. Everything he says is a stitch.
I have AIDS.
What a historic moment that completely undercuts the devastation of the movie. And as we would later learn, that's just Family Guy for you. The film is historic for being one of the first in Hollywood to respectfully tackle being gay in America and the AIDS epidemic. But we know how funny Family Guy finds just saying the disease, so...
Ouch.
There you go, you're good.
You didn't touch me.
I don't want to get AIDS.
Gotta hand it to him for managing to ruin two beloved films in one cutaway. So yeah, if you're looking for any insightful commentary on the film, you might want to keep looking. We're just here to talk about the funnies. And let me go on record by saying that deadly diseases are not funny.
Oh yeah, there's a show.
After all, AIDS is a deadly, incurable disease.
But a film that's just a bit lighter is the adventure that kicked off a franchise, 1981's Indiana Jones, Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Don't look, Marion!
Okay! By the way, I'm pregnant!
Maybe just one quick peek.
The film is famous for a myriad of reasons, but perhaps the most iconic scene comes at the end when all the bad guys get killed by some holy ghosts. You just know the people at Family Guy are some melting flesh fanatics. I guess this means Meg has a body ordained by God, but that doesn't make it any less horrifying. Like the ark that scene is based on, her body should be studied by some top men.
Who? Top men.
Well, they'll get to it when they're done examining James Woods. An insane brain like his is going to take a couple of decades to understand. But a remarkable brain worth understanding can be seen in the 1988 comedy drama film Rain Man.
You really look great.
Uh-oh. 12 minutes to Wapner.
Yes, I understand your hectic schedule.
The story of an incredible but stunted savant is truly inspiring and heartwarming, but wouldn't you know it, Family Guy kinda just likes the part of the film where the main character has autism.
Looks like you've got yourself one super family. High five! All right!
Of course, the show borrows the film's social worker, Vern, when Peter has a bit of a different disability going on. Unfortunately, that specific one doesn't help him count cards in poker. Oh well, can't win them all. Or most of them. Or any of them, if you're me.
Oh dear. Oh dear. Oh dear, this is not good. This is very bad, very bad.
But what is a win is whenever the show references the brutal yet kinda hilarious 80s sci-fi action film Robocop.
Present hall pass.
Right here.
Security breach. Security breach.
And when we say this movie is brutal, we do mean brutal. Guys are getting filled with holes, limbs are being blasted off, and there's so much fake blood flowing that it makes the Kool-Aid Man look like a puddle. And they made toys for this movie. For children. Don't know what was in the water in the 80s, but it terrifies us.
You're doing better than Peter Weller from the opening scene of Robocop.
Well, good on him for taking it like a champ. Rub some dirt in there, bud. You'll be fine. Robocop is such an iconic figure of the 80s, and Family Guy's nothing if not a time capsule for the good old days, where you'd let your kids watch R-rated movies that scarred them for life.
Nope.
But a more feel-good set of movies the show references a ton are the iconic boxing films of the Rocky franchise.
Drago!
The stories of the Italian stallion are rooted in the human drive to keep on fighting, even when you're down and out. And it also gave us training montages in Eye of the Tiger. Which is cool, but do you know how expensive tiger eyes are on the black market? Don't think I'll ever be a champion boxer until I can afford one. If you haven't seen any of these films, you've probably seen a ton of references in other forms of media, and Family Guy is obviously no different. It only took them 20 years to do a full-on parody of them. But a staple of the 80s that some people may have forgotten about is the Saturday Night Live skit turned feature-length musical The Blues Brothers.
Peter, what the hell are you doing?
Lois, trust me, how many times have I done this before?
All right, but be careful.
Not too hard to see where Peter got his destructive tendencies from, is it? For those too young to know, the Blues Brothers was a bit of a minor cultural staple back in the day, putting blues and jazz at the forefront and looking slick while doing it.
All right, just follow my lead and act real cool.
Of course, you may get called a nerd if you dress like that today, but don't let that deter you. Back in the 80s, these were the coolest cats on the block, and you really just gotta admire a couple of people on a mission from God who caused this much property damage. And another staple of the 80s was the teen dramedies of John Hughes, and there's perhaps no bigger one than The Breakfast Club.
All new Family Guy, the Griffins are grounded, and the one actor of color plays a character named Lawnmower Guy.
It was a simpler time back then, when detention was filled with lovable misfits rather than the classmates whose mugshots you'll see posted online in a few years. But this is one of those tentpole teen movies that defined a generation. Luckily, Fingerless Gloves didn't have as big of an impact as the rest of the movie.
You know what I got for Christmas? It was a banner freaking year at the Tiger House. I got a carton of cigarettes.
From captain of a naval fleet to detention. Oh, how Captain Crunch has gone soggy. But yeah, a very fun movie that'll have you throwing your fist in the air as the darkness slowly takes you. And continuing with 80s classics, we have the story of a kid learning karate in the aptly named film, The Karate Kid. This film kind of follows the mantra that fighting people is wrong, unless you can fight them with karate, which is way cooler and way more acceptable.
You're all right, LaRusso. You just tried to me.
Yeah, but through karate, which is cool. It's easy to see the movie's impact on pop culture, mostly centered around Mr. Miyagi's unorthodox training. I think he just duped that kid into doing chores for him. This guy should not be left alone around children.
Now show me, stow the hymnals.
Yay! 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 And the show continues to make reference to one of the greatest spoof movies ever made, 1988's The Naked Gun.
I'm Stewie Griffin. And don't ever let me catch you guys in Quahog.
The story of bumbling cop Frank Drebin trying to save the day by making it infinitely worse sounds very similar to the early structure of Family Guy episodes. The movie's so good that parodying it won't even do it justice. They literally even do one-for-one recreations, like the first-person POV intro.
Hey, Stewie. Who the hell is that?
Or by literally just pasting their characters' faces over a scene from the movie. And now we've truly come full circle, because just this year, Seth MacFarlane helped produce a remake starring Family Guy alum Liam Neeson. Good to see comedy isn't dead, it's just been in a coma for a few decades. But we go from funny to sad with one of the greatest adaptations of Stephen King's work, The Shawshank Redemption.
I wish I could tell you that the Monopoly guy fought the good fight, and the sisters let him be.
From a depressing hellhole to freedom, the film is a testament to the power of the human will and all the things that can break it. It's not very funny, which to Family Guy makes it very funny.
And just to be a jerk, I carved Brooks was here in the wall. Did you see that?
Well, if he hangs around a bit longer, he might see it. Too soon for this 30-year-old movie? I mean, the guy killed his wife and daughter after all. But it's clear how important this film is, as it seems to be the one that the show has referenced the most out of King's work. There's even a whole section devoted to parodying it in the Three Kings anthology episode. For a guy who writes about evil cars and Tommyknockers, he sure does know how to make some super uplifting stories.
I don't know what a hollaback girl is, but I have to imagine it's a foul, disease-ridden thing.
And speaking of Stephen King, there's a movie inspired by his work that he really doesn't like, but we can't deny that The Shining is an all-time horror classic. Thought we'd start this section off with a terrifying flashbang if you don't mind. While it might not be the most faithful of Stephen King adaptations, it's still regarded as one of the greatest horror movies ever made. Unfortunately, the show can't do a full parody because The Simpsons already called dibs, but that hasn't stopped them from referencing the movie in other ways.
Munch a bunch of Fritos!
No!
A reference that people might get even less than the Here's Johnny reference. Truly impressive. At least watching all these references will make watching the real movie less scary, right? Put Quagmire in the bear suit already. That scene still freaks me the hell out.
Damn it, Stewie, I told you you were too little to have a fridge in your room!
And another horror film that's regarded as a classic and has been referenced countless times by the show is 1991's The Silence of the Lambs.
That me. That me so hard.
Not only is the movie scary, but even the poster used to freak people out. I remember seeing it in Blockbuster and getting freaked out, probably because I was worried the butterfly might be eaten. But not only did the film influence the inflection Seth Green does for Chris's voice, it also influenced a ton of gags and references as well.
Hey, Meg, I like your new boyfriend. Every pot finds a lid, huh?
But it's not all disturbing. This movie taught us the importance of exfoliating and lotioning our skin daily. I still do it in a hole in the ground to this very day.
Is he a great big fat person?
He's a large man, yes, sir.
Nope, I have not seen them.
And another heavy set of movies the show would find the funny in are the films from the Terminator franchise. More often than not, Terminator 2: Judgment Day.
See that, Lois? There's more Terminators around than you think there are.
Everybody loves robots, and everybody loves robots that threaten to destroy the entire human race. Okay, maybe people only like them theoretically. Actually, on second thought... But our point still stands that people love their robot movies, and T2 is often considered the best of the bunch. It's also hard to just dislike Arnold. He saved the future, he's allowed to sleep with as many maids as he wants.
You do have a housekeeper! Let's go make a large-faced boy!
And like the apocalypse, tragedy can make for a good movie, which makes for references equally as good from one of the highest-grossing movies ever, Titanic.
You know, thanks for letting me draw you naked.
I still can't believe you let me do that.
The tragic tale of Jack, Rose, and the biggest boat ever constructed is a heartbreaking one, and yet so iconic that moments and lines from the film have been quoted and parodied for years. This is why I opt to walk everywhere. No tragic movies about a clam out on a walk.
I'm the king of the world! Woo-hoo-hoo!
But there's a reason it's so iconic. A love story wrapped in a disaster movie and decorated as a historical biopic? Those are just a bunch of nonsense words I just said, but trust me, the movie is actually good.
This is still better. Still better. Still so much better.
But there's no need to worry about death in the film that spawned from a popular SNL character, Wayne's World.
Swing! 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 Swing!
That was from Wayne's World.
Indeed it is, and it's apparently the sound that Wayne's thing makes. And honestly, it's like the only part of the movie the show references, but they've just done it so much that we felt like it was worth mentioning.
Swing! Which is like the sound of being lifted by a I think.
And finally, we have the equally whimsical and OSHA-violatingly disturbing fantasy film, Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory.
Do it, Charlie!
They didn't even have to exaggerate it being disturbingly like that. Wonka has a body count that matches some of history's most prolific serial killers, but he only does it to bad children, so I guess he can't be that bad.
I'm just asking.
What, are you calling me a liar?
No, I'm just saying.
Hey, shut up, Wonka!
But at its core, it's a fantastical, magical journey through every kid's dream. So it's only fitting that the show does what it can to turn it into more of a nightmare. But what's your favorite movie reference in Family Guy history? Let us know down in the comments, and be sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already.